Vedas is, has great faith in that statistic, and he's not there because he knows he's one of them. But the sad thing is that, do you know these people are such a small minority, because every year we only send 0.4%, not even 1%, not even 0.5%, 0.4% only of our students overseas to study. So the rest of them kind of have to go through this education system where people tell you why the Thai revolution happened, and then you end up, interviewing for jobs and so on, without actually having the relevant skills that employers are actually looking for. I find it very sad. I do a lot of recruitment initiatives on behalf of clients. So there was this one time when we recruited for, I won't tell you what cause it was, but it was it was a national cause that attracted a lot of attention. So one ad, we got 900 resumes, predominantly local grads, in fact all of it local grads. And from that 900 resumes, and I trawled through all the 900, no, me personally, somebody in the first trawled through those 900 resumes, we only made one hire for the client. One out of 900. But the girl was good. So, she was a girl. Alright, I think I am at the end, so this is essentially what I believe. I think that we're in deep shit, and I think we're not doing enough to actually get out of it. I think that's not to say we won't achieve progress. I think that the numbers will show that our economy has improved, simply because we're an open economy. So when the rest of the world improves, we will also improve, because we are a trading nation. But my question is this: in 15 years' time, which country will we be comparing ourselves to? About two. Okay, hang on. I'm supposed to now talk about my journey. Oh, yeah. Yes, okay, right. During which you get to ask me all sorts of questions. So, when I was in Accenture, there were a bunch of women managers who were essentially my age, like plus minus 1 year, And the sad thing is that, I'm kind of the only one left, because all my other friends decided to first go into part-time work, then decided not to work at all. And a bunch of the rest who decided to still continue working actually made the conscious decision to step out of a multinational and essentially work in an environment where it would be more of a 9-to-5 job, and essentially consciously allowed their careers to plateau. So then we were all managers in kind of the same batch in Accenture, and now 8 years later, unfortunately they're still managers and they have chosen that path. So I think that this is a very, my journey is relevant in the context of women at work in general. And if you look at data, change, okay, so this is just data that was recently put together this afternoon. Next. So we still have relatively low labor force participation, women's participation in the labor force. So even though we are more developed than all of those countries, we actually have lows in terms of women's participation in the labor force. In terms of percentage of women in professional and managerial positions, even though we know that we are cleverer, we are only 13%. Only 13%. 13. Yeah, I know, it's shocking, absolutely. And so we are about equal in terms of clerical and sales position, but I don't think that's where we want to be. And what's even more visible is the next slide, whereby in terms of the governance and leadership of corporate Malaysia, you will see in terms of board of directors, corporate directors, management, senior management positions, CEOs, we're very, very underrepresented. And where I am, it's very lonely because, you meet a lot of people. Most of them are either men. Most of them are men. Then they're not halfway, but so they're men. Or if they're women, I actually assume that, you know, women are married and have kids, whatever. Then, you know, I'm always interested. I have to know clients, women clients, to get to know them better and make them my friends, whatever. Then after the second lunch, or even the first lunch that we have together, I realized, okay, this person not married has no kids. So I don't have many friends with many things in common with me, because I only meet guys and women who don't have kids. That's kind of where I am. And the friends I do have who have kids essentially chose not to keep up from a professional and intellectual standpoint. So then they can't relate to me either. I'm very lonely. All right. So therefore my journey is relevant, so that's why I'm telling you all this. So the story of my life is I went to boarding school for 5 years, from Form 1 to Form 5. After that, I got a background scholarship. I did my A-levels in the school in London for Mill Hill. So if you've all taken Northern Line, it's right at the end of the Northern Line. Mill Hill, High Barnet, right? That's the stop. 2 years, A-level. Learned absolutely nothing, but it was good fun. And then, you know, got to Cambridge and did a lot of things in a very intense environment for 3 years. So what happened was, in my third year in Cambridge, I decided that what I wanted to do more than anything in life was to further mankind's knowledge in economics. So I thought, I'm going to do a PhD, I'm going to work for an international organization like World Bank, whatever, do something worthwhile. So I went to see my director of studies and said, do you know that you've missed the PhD application deadline? I said, oh, really? So what, you know, what should I do? She said, Natasha, you know, for sure you'll get a place. Just take a year out, you know, do whatever, and, you know, apply for the next cycle. So I thought, okay, I haven't been home for a while. My parents probably want to see me, so let's go home. And while I was still in my third year, Accenture, which wasn't called Accenture then, it was called Anderson Consulting, somehow tracked me down because my name appeared in the papers, so they tracked me down to the economics faculty and they said, come and meet our partner, he's coming to London. So I had a chat with this guy, and after that they offered me, and I thought, well, you know, since I'm only doing it for pocket money, it doesn't really matter what I do. So I said, okay, I'll work for them, because they were going to send me to Chicago for a 3-week training. I thought, very good. So I accepted the job and came back to Malaysia. And I mean, I'll talk a bit about my career in Accenture. I think I was there for 8 years, and during that 8 years, I worked for you know, Proton, for Petronas, for MIC, for a number of large companies. And I feel that those of us who joined Accenture at that point in time were very fortunate, because that was a time when people were willing to pay a premium for Accenture's skills, because we didn't have all these Tata and Indian companies now. And so we therefore could take time on projects. So what today are being sold as 3-month, 4-month projects, those days we took 1 year to do it. 18 months sometimes, yeah? In Indonesia, 18 months, like Malaysia, 12 months. And because of that, that afforded new joiners like me the ability to learn. And American-based firms, I think, very good at systemization, very good at documenting their knowledge capital, and there are so many opportunities to actually learn. And that was also the period where the market for IT systems in Malaysia was not yet saturated. So a lot of companies, I mean all the companies I just mentioned, were essentially just about to embark on a process transformation exercise, where essentially they were going to re-engineer all their core business processes and essentially automate a lot of things. So that was actually a good way to learn a great overview of how a company works, you know, so in Proton, for example, I learned everything about how a manufacturing company works, right from production planning to actually delivering the car to Eon, yeah? Nowadays you don't get that, because people already have those systems in place, and what you're looking for are very specific solutions. So it's either business intelligence or CRM, or something very specific. You don't get the end-to-end picture anymore. So okay, back to the story of how I'm here, because obviously I didn't go and work for the World Bank, right? So, okay. So I came back to Malaysia, and I accepted this job in in Accenture. So every day, I don't drive. I drive now, but those days, I only started driving a few years ago, yeah? So those days, I didn't drive, and my dad, fortunately, was still working, so he was coerced into sending me to work every day. So one time, he was basically on an overseas or outstation trip, so I needed a lift to work, so I decided to call somebody who was my senior in Cambridge, who actually lived in Kanajaya, so right near my house. So I called him, and said, so the conversation was something like this, said, oh, you know, hi Sham. I said, hi Nat, how wonderful to hear from you. Are you back from Cambridge? I said, yes, and I said, are you know, single? Are you seeing anyone? I said, no, I'm not seeing anyone. I said, and then he said, that's very good because I have 3 unmarried housemates. I said, okay, that would be very useful. So I said, Sham, I actually want to hear from you. He said, no, I want to talk about my housemates. So I said, I have one guy from Shell, who's working in Shell, I have a guy who's working in Bank, and I have a guy who's, you know, working for that time at Coopers and Lybrand doing his MAPA. So which one do you want? So I said, well, it doesn't actually matter. I mean, do I actually have to make a selection to get lift from you? He said, yeah, I'm serious about this. So I said, well, okay, like the accountant. So I said, okay. So I said, okay means you're going to give me the lift. I said, and then he said, yeah, I will give you the lift and I'll make sure he's there. So I said, sorted, because I don't actually mind. So that's, so then I met this guy who's a friend of a friend. He actually took 1 week to actually call me, get my number and to actually call me after that. And he actually took 4 weeks after that to ask me out on the first date. And very fortunately, he only took 2 weeks after that to propose to me. So, yes, absolutely. So, for women, we shall kick the men out and I shall tell you how to make this happen for yourself. So, unfortunately, my mom said she can only organize, she would take 6 months to actually organize a wedding. So I said, Ma, 6 months? We made all this decision in less than 6 weeks. 6 months? I said, yeah, do you know how difficult it is to organize a wedding or not? So I said, okay, fine. So, I got married, and getting married, I think, wasn't going to stop me from doing my PhD and whatnot, but I actually got pregnant, and I just thought, in the end, baby didn't happen or not, but at the point in time where it was time for me to reconsider the PhD application, I was pregnant, and I just thought, trying to raise a baby in a foreign country without a support system, without income, and then, trying to do a PhD at the same time, which is not going to work out. So I said, okay, Accenture is actually not bad, I'm enjoying things, and I decided to make it work for me. And I guess I'm one of these people in life who have always thrown my passion into whatever I'm doing at that moment in time, so I didn't question. A lot of you are asking what's the right career decision, should I do this, what are my options? I never asked myself all that. I was there. I took the job because I needed pocket money, but essentially I was there, and I thought, well, okay, let's make the best of it now that I'm there. For a long time, I only had 1 kid. So the gap between my first child and my second child is actually 8 years. So at some point, which is about 2002, 2003, I actually got very, very bored because after a while you find that your work is getting repetitive, which it is in IT consulting. After a while, once you've mastered the core skills, work gets very repetitive, and I thought, I'm probably adding more value to Accenture than Accenture is adding to me, so I thought, let's go and find a new adventure. And I coincidentally met Omar and Moon, who were the 2 founding partners of Ethos, and they interviewed me in this shoebox office, which was 900 square feet. But in that office, there was a lovely red carpet. So I thought, well, these people have taste. If they have nothing else, they have taste. And I thought, okay, this will be a nice adventure. And because, my consideration was that I liked the people. They were clearly smart. They had a journey in mind. They didn't have a destination in mind. They had a journey in mind. And I thought, okay, the journey will be fun. So I actually told them, because, 5 minutes into the conversation, I already knew that they couldn't afford me. So I said, here's the thing. You're probably going to have a cash flow problem paying me. So why don't we do this deal? You just pay me the minimum that I need, to actually live. And believe me, at that point in time, it's only 5,000. So I thought I could live on 5,000 monthly. I had a husband, so I keep paying me 5,000 monthly. But, you know, when you actually have projects, then you